There are so many different anime out there that range from being so bad it's funny to in some rare cases being the best of the best. Of course there's a large range here, but it's less constricting than giving different elements of a show numerical values like we did in the past. Today we are looking at I Was Reincarnated as the 7th prince so I can take my time perfecting my magic ability. What a mouthful. The main tags that describe the show are ecchi, isekai action and harem. The show has one season with 12 episodes, and there's a dub as of me making this video. There's a plan for a second season, however we don't know about the release date yet. Before really explaining what makes the show watchable, or not in some cases, I'll give you a fast rundown of the story. The story follows Lloyd, someone that was reincarnated after being killed in his past life, of course. Within his past life, he wished to learn about magic as much as possible, however he was not gifted in the talent of magic as he was a commoner. This was also the reason he was killed by some royals, however that doesn't really get expanded on, and the next thing we see after his death is him in his new life as a newborn. In his confused state, as he is a child now, he reaches his hand out and instantly uses great magic that destroys all that was in front of his hand, indicating his newfound magic potential and the start of the story. After this there's a time skip to where he's around 10, and unfortunately there's no more time skips after this. The best way to describe this story is a journey of him fucking around with crazy magic whilst getting involved with other people's problems at the same time. In reality, one of the first things that happen is him releasing a demon from a sealed object just to end up making him his pet, allowing him to use even stronger magic with the help of the demon. After getting a new pet, he starts creating a harem, unintentionally at the fine age of 10, as he keeps experimenting with magic and anything else that grabs his attention. Jingle jingle, jingle jingle. As a matter of fact, the thing that makes this show shine is definitely not the story. But before I go on to the pros and cons, make sure to click that subscribe button or like the video, as that really motivates us. As you can see here, a lot of people that watch our videos don't really subscribe, so we would really appreciate it. Anyway, let's get back into it. Okay, so now it's time to find out what makes the show good and what makes it bad. No story focus. Because there is no overarching story, it feels less well written and more all over the place. There are a number of short stories that make up the whole season, however, they do their best to make small connections between the short stories, making a whole thing. This is more of a show where I didn't pay too much attention to the narrative structure and just enjoyed the fights and how good the animation was. If you're looking for a story with more thought put into it, watch Villain Saga, Free and Beyond Journeys, and Army Shoko Tensei. Technically there is a story at the very end that lasts from episode 7 to episode 12, however it's not good, and it's extremely forced. The show looks good. The best part of the show is by far its animation and art style. There's a lot of effort placed into the style of the show, and they try their best with the consistency of the animation. From this perspective, it's a lot better than a lot of the isekai that drop in animation quality throughout their run. This problem not being exclusive to isekai anime, of course. In many ways, this show is a visual drug, with its strong and bright colors being a core part of its style. This is even more enforced by the visual effects that are the main eye candy that kept me watching. This studio did God's work, because the only thing that I didn't like about the show much are the elements that they couldn't control. Crazy fights. The action is designed to be as crazy as possible, leaning into the OP nature of our protagonist. While the focus is magic, of course, there's a lot of other elements that are explored in fights that make it more interesting. Like I said before, there's a lot of effort put into the visual focus of the show, so there's a crazy range of different camera angles within most fights, making action just that much more entertaining. Because of the overpowered structure of the show, you can't really know what's going to happen next, especially with the opponents' Lloyd fights being demons, liches, or other super strong entities. Half-baked characters. We'll start with Lloyd, the protagonist. He's a very simple character, with there only being one thing that he truly cares about, this being magic. There are moments where other things catch his interest for a little bit, however he masters them almost instantly. He shows limited interest in people besides being thankful to his brother. This being because Lloyd doesn't want to deal with his royal duties, and his brother covers for him all the time, giving him more time to study magic, of course. Also, because he doesn't want to waste his time with anything that isn't magic related, he keeps on hiding how powerful he is, giving him more time to do as he likes, really. His character is willing to find anything that doesn't involve magic, or he just finds interesting to be a hassle that he avoids at all costs. This all makes his character flat, with there only being one thing that truly interests him, and his other characteristics not being fleshed out at all. We know nothing about his past life besides his death and how weak he was, making us forget about that part of the story almost instantly. We should have more of a reason to be just as interested with magic as he is, as that's the main focus of the show. We need a reason, as viewers, to care, but that's all lacking, only being covered up by a blindfold of good animation and action. Next I'll be talking about Gremory, or Grim for short. He's a demon that's been sealed in a book for a while, however Lloyd decides to let him free because he found both him and the object interesting. After talking for a bit, they end up fighting, and after Grim realizes that he can't defeat Lloyd, he gives up and becomes his follower. While at first he plans to take over Lloyd's body, he gradually starts liking the idea of spending time with him and starts seeing him as a friend the longer the show goes on. Lloyd also uses Grim to produce more powerful magic, making him create another mouth on Lloyd's hand so that he can cast twice as many spells at the same time. Out of all the characters, Grim could be the best written one, as not only does he have character development in the limited number of episodes, he's also used as a wiki page for this world, informing Lloyd about anything he might not know about. More or less, he's a plot device, and that's why he is introduced to the story so early on. Next, I'll be talking about Sylphia. She is Lloyd's caretaker, and also the person that's showing him how to use a blade. Because of how capable she finds him with the sword, her obsession with him grew. She is older than a teen within the show, but we don't know exactly what age she is, and in the past she was a high-ranking adventurer. Her obsession for Lloyd is only matched by Albert, with both of them going crazy whenever they think something bad has happened to Lloyd. Because of her power, she keeps on breaking her swords, making her hold back throughout most of the show. This also frustrates her, but with Lloyd realizing this later on, he gives her a weapon that won't break even if she goes all out. This is the only form of development she gets, and most of the time I believe she's used for fanservice purposes, with her always wearing a maid outfit. If you like that, I guess. The fanservice reaches its peak in episode 5, with just some weird out of place shit that affects both her and the next character I'm talking about. This being Tao. Her personality is just being a simp for good looking guys. We first meet her when Lloyd is looking for a dungeon to conduct some experiments on. However, before they interact, Lloyd creates a disguise combining his looks with Albert's, his older brother. She jumps on the idea of showing him around the dungeon, expressing how she's an A-rank adventurer that uses martial arts. In reality, she only does this because she finds him attractive and looks at this as a date. Her speciality in martial arts catches his interest, and throughout the exploration, he masters her martial art beyond what she can do herself. This makes her fall for him even more, as he defeats a powerful monster, saving her, and in the process showing her how far martial arts can take her. This once again is the only development we get with her. After this, she randomly shows up throughout the show saying that she can sense a hot guy nearby.
Fear not! Tao the adventurer is here to lend her skills to your battle! I sensed a hot guy, an evil presence!
Normally being directed at Lloyd without even knowing it. A 10-year-old, may I add. She's stated to be minus 18 on the wiki page, so who knows how old she really is. At one point, she even realizes that she doesn't even know why she finds Lloyd, a 10-year-old, attractive.
By the way, I'd like to go on an adventure with Lloyd if he's ever available.
You're not actually interested in him, are you?
Of course not. Seriously, what do you take me for?
Then why are you requesting a job with him?
I've been asking myself that too.
Suspicious.
Lastly, we have Ren. She's an assassin because of a curse that she was born with, creating a smell that kills people around her. After she arrives at Lloyd's residence, he notices her and decides to fight her for a short period of time. After the fight, he lets her escape, allowing him to follow her and find where the base of the people she works with is located. After he arrives at the base, he instantly shows himself and just fights them. This leads to him talking with them and deciding to suppress the curse they all have, allowing them to control their powers. Why can he do this? Generally speaking, who fucking knows? With them being able to control their powers, they can live normal lives now. Look, I personally don't get it, but because of the curse they had, they needed to commit crimes to get by. This being assassination of all things. Because if they try to live normal lives, they end up losing control and, killing people around them. Whatever. Ren is of course thankful for saving their lives, making it possible for them to live normal ones now, and starts developing feelings for him. After this, the last section of the story happens with her falling for him even more, because he helps her and her friends out. Compared to the other girls, at least she seems to be in the same age range as Lloyd, but there is nowhere that tells me how old she really is, so who the fuck actually knows? There are at least some real reasons for her to develop feelings. However, realistically speaking, they shouldn't be romantic so fast, and she should just be thankful to him for suppressing the curse and later helping her friends. I personally think there isn't anything good about the characters besides some basic development that's just left there, with no foreshadowing that would make me suspect there'll be more. Overall, they don't explore a lot of characters and their past so that they could become interesting as individuals. We should care more about them because of them, not just because Lloyd interacted with them once. Most of the characters are used as tools to make the main character shine, and to make the story slightly more interesting. The writing isn't very good, but the characters do look visually appealing at least. Unfortunately, Lloyd is around 10 years old, probably putting a lot of people off watching the show, one of those people being Coffee, my partner of the channel. Lastly, mix up of themes. On one hand, the art style is very cute and colourful, whilst also having dark and depressing topics though. There is fan service and gore that implies that it's being designed for an older audience, however the art style does not express the narrative intentions at all. This will make a lot of people not know what the fuck they are watching. Here are two different scenes from the same show, and the only word that comes to mind is why. It's obvious that it's used as the main twist of the show, however, I think it will put more people off it. A lot of shows have an identity that they establish from the start and try upkeeping. Imagine if Attack on Titan looked more cute and colorful while still having the same story. It just wouldn't work. However, this show just kind of does what it likes, I guess. I think the show's a little bit mid. There are some things that this show does well, however from a writing perspective it's an absolute mess. It doesn't know what it wants and is really greedy, which ends up in a big mix of a lot of things that don't fully work out with each other. It's still watchable, however, mainly because of the good quality animation and fighting scenes. I personally think it works as a decent show, even though there are a lot of weak areas that shouldn't make me recommend it. However, give it a shot as you might still enjoy it just like I did. Rather than going for a story that'll take years to understand, the show obviously goes in the opposite direction, attempting to create entertaining fights, funny moments, and largely fan service slop. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Curious, put it in the comments if you are willing to. If you're daring to, may I add. Obviously I'm just fucking around. Thank you for watching. If you got to this part of the video, you're a real one. If you actually watched the whole thing, if you skipped it, then you're a fucking prick, mate. You're a fucking prick. Well, anyway, as always, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.